Hi, I'm the Paranoid Survivor, and
I seem to be seriously wounded.
So I know this game is 15 years old, and I know it's technically not post-apocalyptic, but rather just apocalyptic. But it doesn't change the fact that it's fucking awesome. Not only did this game make a big impact on gaming that year, revolutionizing storytelling and variety of gameplay, but it's just well made and beautifully executed. In recent days, it's been overshadowed and forgotten because of its superior sequel, which we'll get to later. But it's still a really fun game. Why? Well, let's find out.
first of all, the story.
You take control of the silent protagonist, no video game icon, Gordon Freeman. You are a young theoretical physicist just starting to work in a research facility in the middle of the New Mexican desert. When a mysterious crystal is brought in, you're called to work on it. One train ride later,
It does serve as a pretty good intro, by the way.
and you jump into your hazard suit to help with the crystal. But something goes wrong and suddenly you're thrust into a marvelous adventure. While it may seem simple at first, it's not really about the story. It's about the atmosphere and the tone the game sets. Going through the facility, seeing all this death and destruction is pretty breathtaking, even if the graphics are outdated. And the whole idea of you just trying to escape a research facility filled to the brim with puzzles, interesting rooms, fragile corridors, and machines, while an enclave of alien attackers not lacking in variety, mind you, try to kill you is awesome. It's just a fun premise and leaves room for a lot of variety.
Variety which is completely used up.
You will find brain-numbing puzzles equal to that of the ingenuity of Portal, amazing set-piece moments and bosses as these two worlds that are obviously not supposed to combine clash, and a variety of enemies and landscapes. Really, because you're a silent protagonist, the story progresses how you want it to. You may try to save every scientist you find, or you may just kill them for thrills. You may look into every side corridor to find all of the extra ammo and weapons, or you may just progress as if the game was linear. Really, it all depends on you.
So while this game may look simple on the surface, the enthralling world that surrounds you says otherwise.
And every time it seems the facility may become boring, the game throws in another one of those originally cool weapons or a really fun boss that requires more than just shooting, just a completely unexpected change of scenery. Really, the variety and originality of the game are its greatest assets. From a cliffside fight with the military to an underground railway sequence with crossing paths and genius puzzles, it never ceases to surprise. Speaking of fights, you'll be battling against humans and aliens alike. The aliens are great. They all look and act completely different, each requiring its own strategy and weapon. The humans aren't that varied, but pose a challenge nonetheless. They set traps and use tanks, which leads to some cool set-piece moments. The many weapons all feel different. As I said, variety is key, so you'll get everything from your standard machine gun to a high-tech laser gun to the infamous crowbar, all of which are required to beat this immensely challenging game. The challenge, though, is not unfair. The controls are good, if a little fast-paced and dynamic, and it's always thought out as to what the player would think and do. If they have a battle filled with explosions and epicness and destruction, it's gonna be outside. While if they have a fight against a few sneaky little headcrabs, it's gonna be in the claustrophobic vent.
Now while everything they try to present happening on screen looks really cool, it's worth noting that the graphics are somewhat outdated.
Same goes for the sound design, but I can't really blame it for that because of the age. But the voice talents could have done a lot better. Saving scientists is fun to try, but you will inevitably get to one of those puzzles which make you feel like an idiot, then a genius, and then an idiot again, in which you'll probably lose them in a vent. Sometimes the game tends to be cheap, which does add to the intensity of the situations, but also to the frustration. The lack of a tutorial or something telling you where to go is actually really fitting, and it makes the game feel organic. But on the other side, you will probably get lost sometimes. A simple arrow on the wall would be nice in some situations. And while not being buggy, the AI doesn't really fare sometimes, but really those are all the cons. And for a game that's as old as me, it's brilliant. Really, I can't judge it for the few flaws that it has, because the technology wasn't on par with the one we have today. Therefore, I have to give the game a rating of 8.5 out of 10. Seriously, if you haven't played the game yet, you have to.
Literally every FPS game you play today was in some way inspired or taught by this game. It's really fun, and you'll never know what it is. Survivor